The hidden psychology of Gen X, why they're so independent, private, and resilient. Have you ever wondered why Generation X can seem so different? They don't always announce what they're doing. They don't necessarily need constant attention. And when life gets difficult, many of them seem to have the same instinct. I'll figure it out. That simple mindset may reveal something much deeper about the psychology of General X. Because Generation X grew up during one of the biggest transitions in modern history. They were children in a mostly offline world, and adults in a digital one. They remember landline phones, VHS tapes, physical maps, waiting for a favorite TV show to come on, and getting information without immediately searching for it online. But this wasn't just a different childhood. For many Gen Xers, it was an environment that encouraged independence. Imagine coming home from school. There might not be a parent waiting with a schedule for you. You knew what you were supposed to do. Get inside, find something to eat, finish your homework, go outside, figure out the rest. There was no smartphone constantly telling you where everyone was. No group chat asking why you hadn't replied. And no search engine instantly answering every question. You had to make small decisions on your own. And repeated small decisions can become a psychological habit. If I have a problem, I'll try to solve it first. That can create something powerful. Self-efficacy. The belief that you are capable of dealing with challenges. But there is a hidden side to that strength. When you've spent years being independent, depending on other people can feel unfamiliar. You may be perfectly comfortable helping someone else, while feeling uncomfortable saying, "I need help." So independence can become more than a useful skill. It can become part of your identity. And that's where Gen X gets especially interesting. Because their independence wasn't necessarily built from believing that everything would be okay. It may have been built from learning that things can change. Jobs change. Companies change. Technology changes. Relationships change. The world changes. So instead of expecting stability, many people learn to value adaptability. That's a very different kind of confidence. It's not, "Nothing will go wrong." It's, "If something goes wrong, I'll deal with it." And that distinction matters. Because optimism depends on believing that the future will be good. Resilience depends on believing that you can handle the future, even when you don't know what it will bring. But perhaps the most fascinating part of Gen X psychology is the relationship with privacy. They grew up before being visible all the time became normal. Your embarrassing moment wasn't automatically recorded. Your private conversation wasn't instantly posted. Your entire social life didn't exist online. So privacy could feel natural. Not mysterious. Not secretive. Just normal. And that may help explain why some Gen X adults don't feel the same pressure to constantly broadcast their lives. They can enjoy something without posting it. They can accomplish something without announcing it. They can have a meaningful experience without turning it into content. In today's attention economy, that can look almost unusual. But there's another contradiction. A person can be private and still deeply loyal. They may not constantly tell you how much they care. But when you genuinely need them, they may show up. Not with a public announcement. Not with a performance. Just with action. And perhaps that's one of the most important lessons hidden inside the Gen X experience. Their childhood taught them independence. Their changing world taught them adaptability. And the rise of digital culture taught them the value of privacy. Of course, no generation is psychologically identical. Gen X isn't automatically better, stronger, or more independent than everyone else. Every generation is shaped by the world it grows up in. But Gen X experienced something unusual. They learned how to function in two completely different environments. They knew what life was like before the internet. And they adapted to life after it. They remember being unreachable, and then became part of a world where everyone could be reached instantly. They remember having a private life, and watched privacy become increasingly difficult to maintain. Maybe that's why their defining psychological trait isn't simply independence. It's adaptability. They learned that the world doesn't always stay the same. So instead of expecting life to remain comfortable, they learned to adjust. And maybe that's what the phrase, "I'll figure it out," really means. Not that they have every answer. Not that they never need anyone. But that they've developed a quiet belief. Whatever happens next, I'll learn how to deal with it. And honestly, that might be the most Gen X thing of all. If you enjoyed this deeper look into human behavior, subscribe for more psychology that explains why we think, feel, and behave the way we do.